Okay, your boy has developed a new version of the Metal Monk. That's probably going to be a little bit more robust. I don't know what kind of word to use, but a more interesting, better to play. Okay, hold on. Well, actually, no. I gotta figure out the disadvantages first. Anyway, these are the skills that I think I want to go with. I want to have dodging as a primary, and I want to have it like about 5 levels ahead of the other ones. That's going to be the max skill, dodging. That's going to be the mastered skill. The idea behind the Metal Monk is it's a monk that uses heavy armor and alteration magic. So like debilitating or, using that kind of magic to buff. They don't rely on speed. This is something that's a bit different because I've almost always made characters that have maxed out speed right away. This might be a little bit different with the Tome of Battle and stuff, but if you're not using those type of mods, speed, I mean, it's incredibly broken. It's the best attribute. You can outrun all enemies. You can hit, enemies extremely fast. It basically makes combat trivial for, well, not trivial. It's working as intended. If you invest heavily into speed and are going with a combat character, that, I mean, it's great. But I want this character to be a bit more sluggish, right? They're a monk that's moving slowly with this big armor, and they're relying more on magic to move around. And they're also I guess the like role-playing philosophy as well is that they sort of renounce violence, although that's kind of, you can sort of play a character in Daggerfall that doesn't kill anything, or mainly relies on language skills, but I don't want to over rely on that because, like, yeah, running through dungeons and killing creatures is like the main idea of the game. I don't want to restrict myself that much, but when it comes to dealing with creatures and enemies, I want to like try and like use language skills to pacify them first. The Metal Monk is not naive, okay? They'll probably end up killing most creatures, but when dealing with human enemies especially, they'll try and be peaceful. But yeah, there are a lot of hostile people on the road, and the Metal Monk isn't necessarily completely above killing, but they renounce violence as much as they can. Tamriel, it's literally called the arena, so they're, aware that there's a lot of violence, and it's kind of part of the world's nature. So they might have to kill in some instances. The main idea is that they're using hand-to-hand, right? But I put long blade archery and then short blade as like backups. Hand-to-hand would be like against one enemy, or probably human enemies. Yeah, that's the idea, is to use hand-to-hand against humans, and then long blade against large groups of creatures. So I'll be using big claymores, or daikatanas probably against like a big group of bats or something. And then archery, obviously dealing with enemies from afar. Short blade is for like dealing with weaker creatures as like a mercy killing. That's why I have backstabbing. It's going to be like a merciful way of dealing with low-end foes. Or, recently I saw those freaking amazing medieval fight videos. I don't know if you call it medieval, but it's like, it's this channel called Dequitum or something. They make like these actually realistic, non-choreographed medieval fights, and they're freaking awesome because they're actually real. And what happens is, in order to deal with a guy in giant armor, it's very hard to do, but once they're on the ground, once an enemy is like grounded, that's like a death sentence, because then you pull out the dagger and try and stab him in the neck, through the armor. So it's like, it's dirty, using a short blade, it's getting down and dirty, but I also kind of want to have a weapon skill there just in case it becomes like the top minor skill, because I like having lots of weapon skills. But yeah, the intention is to get dodging to be the main one, because On this character, I don't want to really do like another Shadow Monk where I'm maxing out all the skills, because I think that's a little... It's not tedious, and I'm fine with doing that, but I want this to be a bit more of a niche character. That's a more unique concept. Okay. I still have to work out the different advantages and disadvantages, though. I also thought about forbidding, forbidding chain and leather. I think with sphincter vision attacks, this is supposed to increase your chance of dodging. I'm not at all sure how it works, because on the mod page for sphincter vision attacks, it says forbidden armor traits greatly increase dodge effectiveness for each trait active, giving a good advantage to the default classes and class enemies. So if you just have nothing, it's your dodging skill divided by 4 is your dodging chance. So the dodging skill is not actually that great at evading damage, so at max dodging, at 100 dodging, 1 in 4 attacks will be avoided, typically. So that's pretty good, but it's not like crazy. Like, yeah, if you want to play like a straight up unarmored monk character, though, this mod is great because you can take all armor disadvantages and have your dodging chance equal to your dodging skill. It'll make the earlier game quite a bit harder because you won't be able to use armor, right? But by end game at 100 dodging, you should practically be immune to all attacks, right? I really like that. One of the reasons to get this mod, definitely, is it changes to these disadvantages. Now it says if you get the plate disadvantage, dodging skill over 2 becomes your dodging efficacy. Is it giving, yeah, for each trait active. So if you have 1 active, if you have 1, do you have to have it be plate for it to be dodging skill over 2? You know? I would assume that if you just pick 1, then you get the dodging skill over 2. I think that's the intention with it, is to be able to make those default classes that have armor restrictions more better at dodging. I don't know. So like if I pick chain and leather, does that mean I get dodging divided by 1.25? I wouldn't mind forbidding chain in general, because like chain is this awkward middle period between light armor and heavy armor, you know? And if I'm using chain, I might as well use heavy. But yeah, that's the idea, is that they're using this badass full plate armor underneath a cloak or a robe, you know? So they're not really going to be using like leather light armor, but I can understand if they need to use it. If they don't have anything else, but that's for like a couple of seconds in the game, practically. I don't know, I like the look of leather armor, right? And I do sometimes, like on the Shadow Monk, I use the leather gauntlets at the end of the game, just because they look like the, you know, hand-to-hand thingamabobs, you know? They look like your glove in hand-to-hand. And that is a downside to Morrowind. Or, Daggerfall. Is... I mean, it's not like a downside, it's just like the way Daggerfall was made. It's a limitation that your character's, you know, outfit doesn't show in hand-to-hand. So the Metal Monk, I think, is a better character to play in Morrowind, because that way you actually get, like, your character's plate gauntlets in first person. Although, yeah, that's in the last video, I said that, and I was like, I completely fucking forgot how hand-to-hand works in Morrowind. Hand-to-hand is a complete fucking... like, you hit like a truck with hand-to-hand, man, in Daggerfall. Hand-to-hand is the best it ever was in the series. It's practically better than most weapons just because you don't have to worry about durability and it does the same damage. Now, in Morrowind, hand-to-hand infamously works kind of badly. You don't quite hit like a wet noodle like you do in Oblivion. Because yeah, hand-to-hand in Oblivion is pretty shitty without mods. And it has to be supplemented with magic. But in Morrowind, you don't even do damage with it unless the enemy is knocked out. Which actually does make sense and is sort of realistic, right? But it makes hand-to-hand very like weird and awkward and unviable in combat. It's very good as a crowd control tool, but if you're like fighting multiple enemies at once, hand-to-hand can be kind of bad. Although yeah, you can use it to, especially if you have max hand-to-hand, you can pretty much knock people out in a couple of punches, and you can use it as sort of a free way of paralyzing people. You know? So yeah, how it works is it does fatigue damage, and when enemies drop to 0 fatigue, they're physically knocked down and can't do anything. And then while they're in that state, while they're in a knocked down or paralyzed whatever state, you do damage to them instead of doing fatigue damage. And I think that damage is relatively weak. But it's a good tool to knock people out. I guess, yeah, that would make sense for a Metal Monk character in terms of role-playing, too. So yeah, if you want to really play this Metal Monk character, you should probably play Morrowind instead. Morrowind is a completely different game than Daggerfall, though. So, there's that. So yeah, because there aren't language skills or pacification. I think you can literally calm people with magic, though, in Morrowind, so you could probably do that better. There's still levitation. And there's still teleporting. There's actually better teleporting in Morrowind. So yeah. But they don't have a dodging skill, but they do have the Sanctuary magical effect, which could potentially make you immune to all damage. Well, besides magic. They still have stealth, but it's not really the same. Because in Daggerfall, stealth is quite broken. You don't actually have to sneak around to avoid enemies. Yeah, I would imagine the Metal Monk would be using illusion magic more in Morrowind to charm enemies. They'd definitely be using hand-to-hand exclusively, just so that they could knock people out instead. Because that is kind of an option in vanilla Morrowind. Typically, in games like Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout, there are some mods that have been made to do non-lethal stuff. I think there's a mod like that for Skyrim, where like people want to roleplay these characters that don't kill anybody. So, oh, here's like a non-lethal baseball bat or whatever for Fallout 4. Or like you can tie up your enemies, and you know, kind of like you can do it. I think you can do that in Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear Solid 5, where like in that game you can sneak up to people and be like, "Hey, show me where the shit is," and then you can just like tie them up, you know, instead of killing them, which I think is a really cool option. In a role-playing game. Anyway, there's no non-lethal way of dealing with enemies in Daggerfall besides just not killing them. You can pacify them, I suppose. That's a bit different in my opinion, especially with language skills overhaul. You can still, like, rob from them, or steal from them, or trade with them. Which, yeah, I would think that the Metal Monk would also renounce things like stealing. They definitely wouldn't join the Dark Brotherhood. That's something that I kept getting requests to do in the Shadow Monk playthrough, which I don't blame them. I never really got around to joining the Dark Brotherhood because I kind of wanted to join them as a vampire, and then I think I just did a lot of things prematurely on the Shadow Monk character. Whereas, yeah, on my next character, I'd want to more heavily focus on the main quest, at least at the beginning. So, like, I'm going to go pretty much straight to Castle Daggerfall and start the quest for that servant lady. It's weird because there's no actual, like, direction to that servant lady in another quest, which I think is kind of what they should have done. Because in order to really... maybe if you ask around at the Daggerfall court, they'll be like, hey, maybe you should talk to the servant, you know? But, I don't know, I've never really... I haven't seen that anyways. Maybe there is. But you kind of have to actually look around at the Daggerfall court to find that lady. And that is a mandatory quest in the main quest. I'm pretty sure you have to do that to progress. I don't know if there's like a Fallout-y type thing in Daggerfall where, like in Fallout, you can just head straight to the master or whatever and kill him. Or no, you have to go to the Mariposa base, I think, and then go to the cathedral. Oh, spoilers. Well, not really. It's okay. Then you can just go and kill the master and then beat the game. You don't have to like do the other stuff first. Although I think that was like a developer oversight, because yeah, I think Tim Kaine has talked about that. Oh, they probably would change that if they knew about that. Anyway, this is not going to be a super hardy character. Although, if you look at the preset classes, most of them don't have this much health. Like most of them start with 8 health per level. Which to me is kind of fucking insane, especially... I don't know. Like, you need at least 15 to me. Or you're gonna need to be supplemented with healing magic, which most classes aren't gonna have right away. I don't think most classes are banned from casting spells. Like, I looked at the warrior class, and I don't think they're banned from casting spells. They just don't start with any spells. They just don't have any magic skills on them, so it'll be hard for them to join the Mages Guild at the beginning. That's as far as I know. I saw that's what it says on the wiki, on the UESP wiki. Oh shit! Oh. You know what sucks is it was just like this morning it was just a thunderstorm, man. It was a thunderstorm, and I wish it lasted longer, because then I would have actually started the real playthrough. If I started it during a thunderstorm and had the window open, I'd be like, hey, this would be great, you know? It's whatever. There'll be another thunderstorm sometime in the future. So I was going to start the video off with the light off. It was going to be the light from the window exclusively, and then when, of course, the intro cutscene begins, the whoa, excuse the gloom, I'll turn the light on. Nah, that lighting is worst. And then, of course, I'd probably change the lighting back to normal. Yeah. There we go. Yo-do-do-do. Oh, shit. Why is this called Winter in Hammerfell? I guess Hammerfell... Ah! It was different back then. Yeah. So what kind of factions would this character join? They would probably join a temple. They might join a knightly order, but I guess, yeah, joining stuff like the Fighters Guild and knightly order is kind of up to preference. Technically, they wouldn't because, you know, they renounce violence. Or fighting. They try to avoid fighting. And it's called the Fighters Guild, you know? They'd probably join the Archaeologists. The Archaeologists make sense. Oh yeah, I also have the Bards Guild. I think I was going to originally do something where... I suppose I could try and make a Bard character. I just don't really like the Bard archetype that much. I don't know why. I like it in a D&D context, you know? But I don't even really like them in Baldur's Gate 3 because you can't actually, like, sing as a Bard. And, like, I imagine, like, a Bard just kind of, like, singing along and playing while people are moving and just being, like, the morale center of the party. And that's not really a thing in Baldur's Gate 3. You can play, you know, and you're oriented around music, and there's all kinds of cool effects and animations as far as that goes, but... And there's cool enough dialogue with the Bard, but... As far as like the Bard sort of fantasy where you're, you know, the heart of the party, that's not necessarily a thing. So yeah, I like it in that D&D context where you can use your imagination to picture what they're doing. But as far as like using music in place of magic, I like that in an Elder Scrolls lore context because there actually is like tonal magic in the lore, like with the Dwemer and the Thu'um. But that's not really well represented in the games. I mean, there is obviously dragon shouts, but they're nowhere near as powerful as they are in the lore, you know? The Noras were said to like move mountains and shit with their voice. And in Skyrim, you can like hit somebody with fire damage or something, you know? Or you can throw them off a cliff, I guess. But it's not the same. It's not the same, gamers. I suppose you can go with 8 health per level and just go with these disadvantages. I don't know what I'm waiting for, really. But yeah, I was thinking of doing like a Bard character and then joining the Bards Guild and probably the Red Lantern Guild. But that was probably going to be its own thing. Because yeah, it would make sense to do that along with the main quest, maybe. And have that be kind of a cover identity or a way of gaining reputation. Although that's not really a huge, like, idea in Daggerfall. That's like a thing in Morrowind more so, where Caius tells you like, hey, go and do something cool and then come back to me, gain a couple levels, okay, join a faction, establish a cover identity. It's basically the developers telling you, wink wink, go and play the game, buddy, and then we'll go do the intense Dwemer ruin where you have to search for the cube. I think 8 health per level is just too damn low. But yeah, this character would be definitely using healing magic. Like, I don't know how a character that can't heal themselves right away would be able to survive on that much. Well, you can pretty easily avoid damage if you have enough speed. But yeah, that's what I'm a little afraid of. And they don't have running. It's a pretty bad idea to not pick running as one of your skills because like that's always increasing in Daggerfall. It's just a no-brainer skill to select as far as leveling goes. But yeah, they're going to rely more so on probably thaumaturgy as the game goes along, because yeah, that includes stuff like water walking and a couple other things, right? That's the main one. Like I'm going to have a climbing, jumping, and water walking spell to assist in movement, similar to the Shadow Monk. I might have to get the mod that changes levitation. That makes it work like Morrowind. Because levitation is always the same speed in Daggerfall. I should definitely, yeah, I shouldn't neglect destruction magic either, because when I think of destruction magic, obviously you're thinking of like fire and shock and stuff, but I think there is like force damage or health damage. I don't think the Metal Monk would be opposed to using that, at least against creatures. It would look at something like fire damage and think that's too cruel. Low tolerance to shock. Regenerate health in general. Ooh. Rapid healing in general. Alright, I think we found it. I should probably get one restriction. Just to gain dodging effectiveness, because yeah, that's if you're like with this Sphincter Vision attacks mod, you're picking dodge as a major or a primary and getting it to 100, so you can dodge like crazy. If it is like on the description where if you pick 2 of them, then it's made by 1.25, and that would be pretty cool, right? But yeah, the idea is you only pick 1, and then you boost your dodging to 200 with enchanting. $1.25. There's an 80% chance. What about? Yeah. Yeah, you just have to boost it twice with enchanting to get 100% dodging if you have 1.25 chance. But I think if you wear plate armor, that also reduces the effectiveness of dodging. Oh no, yeah, I pretty much have to get these. Well, I don't have to, but I really like these. Be able to heal faster in dungeons. It's classic. And it's just cool. Low tolerance to shock. Oh, just barely. You kind of need this much increased magery. You probably want to always go with ×3, especially on a custom class. If you're using magic, but that's kind of only if you're using it regularly for offensive reasons. But you know, I think that'll be enough. I'm starting with I went with the lower combat attributes because yeah, you pretty like if you're doing combat, you pretty much want to put them into strength and speed, and that's it. But for the early game, I want to be kind of worse in combat, but more powerful in magic. This isn't going to be very good in the first dungeon because I don't have access to spell making. It would be kind of cool if you could make like a couple of custom spells with the custom class. But no, that's not a thing. Does metal like make you weaker to shock, or is metal insulated? Is metal insulated? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, they would have, I think, the plate, because if you're wearing a metal armor, isn't that, can't you be electrocuted easier? Yeah, they would probably have a critical weakness to shock. Oh, we're cutting it close there. Jesus. Yeah, I need the forbidden armor because I want to get a bonus to dodge. That's the point of selecting that. Dang it. This is like a puzzle, trying to figure out the best advantages. Yeah, forbidden armor unfortunately doesn't really affect the difficulty dagger that much. Hmm. Critical weakness to shock. Yeah, this character would not get a bonus to hit. The reason I'm picking resistance to magic is because I did select Breton. Increased magery 2 times. Expertise. Yeah, I think the metal monk would have medium health, or it wouldn't be super tanky in terms of health. It would be tanky in terms of defense, but it wouldn't have a super high health pool, but decent, you know. God, just barely. Could probably get rid of that, maybe. Let me work this out. Fuck yeah! I did it. Oh yeah. Let me see. Resistance to magic. I am a Breton. I am a Breton. Bretonic. I'm part of the Anglo-Saxon superior race. Resistance to fire. I picked resistance to fire because I had to fill it up. Okay, I had to fill up the fucking disadvantage slot. And I think it will be kind of interesting with climates and calories. The exact nature of how everything works in climates and calories is kind of nebulous. But I think if you have resistance to fire, you'll have... well, you won't have quite immunity to hot temperature stuff, but this should make me able to sort of run around better in heavy plate armor with clothes and robes and stuff without it having to be winter time. I don't know. And obviously, you know, resisting fire is useful because that's probably the most used element, I would think. Although, yeah, I think most enemies are probably going to be using that magic attack as far as their most offensive spell goes. But, yeah, hopefully that'll translate with climates and calories, make me able to better run around in heavy, hot plate armor. Increase magery 2 times. Expertise in hand-to-hand and missile weapon. I got rid of Longblade just because it didn't fit. And then rapid healing and regenerate health in general. Disadvantages. We have the classic exploits disadvantages. Critical weakness, disease, paralysis, and poison. That doesn't matter because we have immunity to magic. And then forbidden armor, chain, and leather. I just have to pick these in order to get the dodge bonuses. And then critical weakness to shock because we're in heavy armor. And I think metal is an electrical conductor. So if you're wearing a big suit of armor and you get hit with electricity, I mean, you're kind of dead. And these are my skills. I'm a little bit nervous about the low speed because I've played high speed and, you know, high running for a while. Although, yeah, I don't really select running as a primary. It would be kind of neat to play as an acrobat, I think. Like, that has dodging, like, jumping, or, like, climbing, jumping, and running as primary skills. That would be kind of neat. I looked at all of the preset classes, and they're all pretty good. Actually, like you can definitely beat the game as the preset classes, but none of them were like, ooh, that's the one that I want to play. You know, I would always want to make my own tweaks to them. Anyway, I think that's good. Yeah, just remember resistance to fire. That's the only thing that's really different that I haven't done before. After the School of Restoration, so I'm guessing the class that we got as far as the background goes is probably Spell Sword. I've been studying destruction the longest. Or no, probably mysticism, because I didn't select that. What motivates you in a life of adventure? Ooh. Let me actually look what this does. Daggerfall. Background. Up, 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 up. The most useful one here is probably fun, since it gives you +3 to etiquette and streetwise. But I did select those. I don't think, as far as role-playing goes, that a metal monk would be after fun. I'm thinking, yeah, knowledge or helping others is probably the closest. Although, yeah, metal monk, I'm thinking like a more of a neutral character that doesn't get involved. So, like, if they see somebody in trouble, they're going to be like, the universe has ordained, the gods have ordained for this to happen. They cannot interfere, That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, the most useful one is probably fun. Helping others isn't bad, it just gives a reputation bonus. Definitely not fame. Riches just gives you a little bit of gold. I suppose I could probably help you, like, buy a horse early on or whatever without having to take out a loan. But most players should take out a loan anyways, especially with climates and calories and all that. I'm gonna... oh, man. Knowledge makes a hell of a lot of sense, especially if I'm joining archaeologists. Yeah, I think for role-playing reasons, I'm going to pick knowledge. In between formal study, you spent your time... Trespassing. Did I select stealth? I can't remember. Yeah, I think dodging. I think stealth was one of my primaries. Okay, since the best, well, you kind of want all your skills to be as low as possible, so you can level up more. If you're like thinking of min-maxing. What's the most sense in the... I guess either... social... I guess practicing, swimming, or sparring would make the most sense. The best one, I'll just do swimming. Because, yeah, swimming is probably the most annoying one to level up. Since childhood, you have saved... I'll say an amulet. Always take the ebony dagger. Although, yeah, I think a suit of armor would be cool. Yeah. I don't really use the ebony dagger all that much just because it's kind of correct. I'm going to say suit of armor. Even though that's... You always, like... If you want an optimal character, you're always picking the ebony dagger. But I'm going to say a suit of armor. And shoot myself in the foot. And then just have it. Because that gives you a set of iron armor. Which is cool. As you grew older, you received additional magical training in the School of Mysticism. Your childhood nickname was Guppy. That increases swimming. You're friendlier than most with the barbarous orcs. I always pick that. Of all disagreeable types, you have the most personal hatred for... probably immoral assassins. But everyone always picks this. Right. For the... It doesn't really matter. This just, like, decreases your reputation a bit. I'm going to say power mad robber barons. You're intimate friends with a very generous monk. What god, if any, do you worship? Oh, this is a tough one. I think that a metal monk would probably worship Talos, but Talos, I guess, wasn't a thing around this time. I suppose Stendar makes the most sense. I don't know. The only gods that I really know or care about are Kinnereth and Akatosh. Obviously, Dibello is kind of an obvious one as far as what that god does. Basically just beauty. It depends on your character what's the most useful to join. You pretty much just want to join the main temple of whatever region you're living in. I do have the Templars mod, whatever it's called, the Templar Order or whatever, and that adds different quests for the various gods. This doesn't really matter, it just increases your reputation a little bit at the beginning with this particular god. I don't really see the Metal Monk as a particular worshipper of a particular god. I suppose it would be Julianos. But yeah, Julianos is basically just the Mages Guild. I think you get pretty much the same features as the Mages Guild by going that route. The most useful temple varies on your playthrough, but all of them are kind of similar as far as services go. Probably Stendar. You have the most trouble avoiding diseases. My name is going to be Marie. I'll go with the same base again. Okay, so I don't know if this really matters as much, but I'll just, try and get a good intelligence score. I want the character to be kind of sluggish. I suppose, we can put... That's a lot of fucking mana to start off, though. Although, I'm used to having, boosted magic skills, so, a lot of the powerful spells don't cost anything, but 180 spell points, I mean, that is a lot, but spells, at least until your shit isn't figured out, or you haven't, leveled up your magic skills and boosted them with enchanting, a lot of the spells cost a lot, so... Yeah, I think we can leave it at that. Those are pretty good stats here. I'm gonna put, every dodging's got to be 5 points ahead of everything, so we'll do that. What am I doing? Okay. We don't have to boost alteration right away, because I can probably get to, level 4 or so, level 3 inside Privateer's Hold. Biddly-boom-bee. Yeah, we'll do that. Or... I don't know. Yeah, I'll do alteration. Now, what's the top one going to be here? I suppose critical strike. Hey, I can just even everything out. Yeah. That's cool. So what's my max level on this character then? It's gonna be 600 minus 35 minus 30 minus 30. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing this character like not goofy, so I'm gonna actually max out one of those skills. So 600. It's gonna be minus 35. And that's gonna be my 100 skill. So I'm only gonna be able to get those to 95. So it would be minus 65. Or no, minus 25. Right? 65 plus another 65. It was 65 times 3. And then up here, I'll be able to get these to 95. It'll be any of those two, really. But this one's starting at 21. Yeah, this is kind of confusing. We'll just, like, assume that the max level's gonna be 30. Because this looks like a pretty good score overall. But yeah, I'll have 90 skill ups in the minor skills. And then about... No, 80. Yeah, 80. $75, and then 150. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. Very high. Okay.
"400 years after Tiber Septim's reign, the beginning will meet the end, and the bloody circle will close in the Empire of Tamriel.
Excuse the gloom.
Yep. Nope. Yep. Bang. Bang. Alright, yeah, we got a full set of armor, baby. Except for gauntlets, I guess. And we're going to be using bow. And we can try this long blade. Cool. Very cool, very cool. Oh, wow, you can actually wear that? I didn't know that. I thought you could just wear like a torque, and that was the best one. I suppose. The real Baron Zaya. Was it like knowledge? Got the real Baron. Wait a minute, is that like the... I think it's part 6 that's part of the quest. Cool. Oh shit. Oops. Metal monk. Okay. We're gonna be prioritizing leveling dodging. Man, the 0.3 times leveling speed is kind of cracked. Okay, this is your default walking speed? It's crazy. We cannot wear leather armor. Where's the other rats? Does Horrible Hordes make it so it's random, whatever you get? Or do I not have that enabled now? Okay, we're all ready on that front. So are the Horrible Hordes random? Because there's, I mean, I've seen it to where there's like fucking 5 rats there, which is crazy, but kind of fun. Alrighty. So yeah, now we gotta level up stealth and dodging. Just level up my alteration quick. Actually, no, jump around. You don't have to like min-max with this stuff, but as long as we do it like every level, or you know, as much as possible. Yeah, stealth is just running in the background, pretty much. Critical strike is already good. Thaumaturgy. Yeah, with roleplay and realism, I think it's also the items. I don't know. With roleplay and realism, you only get the starting spells of your major skills. Yeah, the metal monks value secrecy. So they'd probably be wearing a hood. Like that, and covering up their armor. Well, we can go with that. Go like that. Makes you shiver. Find a fire and make camp to help you get dry. We're not running on athleticism. Okay, I'm actually not as slow as I thought I was going to be. Really? Or I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. Alright, we're gonna punch him. I'm still kind of able to maneuver around enemies a lot. You kind of have to go for really low speed for that. Good. And we'll do alteration. Unfortunately, I think the way hotkeys work with weapons is a little annoying. We can just leave that there. Ready to rest, I think. Yeah, that would be cool if you can make your own custom spells at the beginning. Suppose I can try and level up Shortblade and Backstabbing. I do kind of wish you could pack up that campfire and use it as camping supplies. Oh, follow me. Cool. Alright, we're gonna... Oh my god, he got fucking all my health. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Excuse me. Go right ahead. Oh my god. So you're telling me it's not ready? Alright, need to level up my backstabbing. I think there actually is an etiquette guy in this dungeon. There, at least when I've seen him. It's like a spell sword fellow. Yeah. I want to get my backstabbing. Alright, let's sneak away then. Sneak away camp. Yeah. Alright. Imp. It'll say imp. That's good. Holy shit. Your food is getting a bit ripe. What? Oh my god. Does it just like become ripe randomly or something? Climates and calories is such a nagging bitch of a mod. But it's like so cool and it improves the game. So what do I do with it? You know? Probably should have ate. Yeah, whatever. Damn it. It like goes... That's gotta be a random thing, because how the fuck does it get old immediately? Like, after an hour? Like, how long have I been going? What's that? Oh my god. The AI, I think, is just bad at moving around these doorways. I think I disabled wandering foes. Turn around. Oh, oh my god. Let me cook. Let me cook. I'm not hungry enough. Fuck you, man. Yeah, I think the raw meat goes away faster, which is weird. It's highly illogical. Get avoided. Let's see. What's the imp? Good. Trying to sneak away so he gets... so I can backstab him. Because I'm not, like, fast enough to... Fine. Apparently it's supposed to count as a backstab if you're not, like, directly facing them, which I don't know if I really... That must have been patched in Unity. My food's getting ripe. Fuck you! It's gotta be random. What the fuck? Let's just have like a random chance to... Whatever, there's a ton of meat in this dungeon. Like, it's gotta be like a random tick-based thing, I don't know. Who are you? Whatever. Yeah, you can... I did this often on the Shadow Monk. You can, knock people back, and then hit them in the back, and count as a backstab. You don't have to be, like, undetected by them. You just have to be staggered. Let's go. Reason why I don't just set up camp is because this is battered, and I think you can only use this first one once, as far as I know. So you probably want to save that for an emergency. Oh. Okay, fuck you. Climates and calories needs a fucking update with, like, settings on it, dude. Yeah, it's got, I think it's like a random tick-based thing after every, like, hour round or something. That's probably how it works. Nice. Alright, well, everything's ready, so I'm just gonna rest. I think this should just stop immediately when you, ready to level up. You wake up. Oops. So yeah, I don't think you really need that much intelligence right away, unless you're, like, really trying to grind out a few magic skills. I'll probably put it into speed. Even that out. Your food is getting a bit ripe. Okay. Whatever, we'll just even out look. No. Putrid meat. God, I hate that fucking bullshit. Your food is getting a bit ripe. How about you fucking kill yourself? There we go. Okay. Yeah, we're already a lot faster. I think I'm kind of fine with that speed. With Tome of Battle, speed... I think weapon speed is actually linear. So, like, 50 speed will be half as slow as 100 speed. So, yeah, speed is, like, nerfed a bit. Which I am okay with. Not sure like how much fatigue actually affects oh, it's a human. Human. Hello. Hello, human. Short blade. Oh. Yep, backstabbing is ready. Cool. That's crisp. Steel cuirass. We're good on that. Free action potion. Oh. That's got to be potion from a mod. I don't think that's a thing in the base game. So yeah, I got this mod, Potions of the Iliac Bay. That definitely makes playing a character that can't use magic a lot easier. And I think more fun. Because yeah, the type of character that would really benefit from a spell like jumping, climbing, water walking, like a super fast, like melee berserker barbarian type build. You know, like they should have extra jump height and stuff. You know? Got all that ready. Stealth. Short blade. I need the iron boots. Get away from me! A stealth. So yeah, I think stealth, I'm just gonna keep running. If I just like stay here, that should just increase my stealth, right? Yeah. Stealth is just time spent undetected by enemies, pretty much. I only really need alteration at 22 right now, so just to maybe increase it. I did get climbing and stuff, right? So not really a mobility focused character. The idea is to not climb because climbing in plate armor sucks. You're going to use levitation. But, you know, climbing's probably one of the coolest skills in the game, so... Okay, for some reason there are pixels behind there. That's fine. Longing to be... Okay. You can kind of level up Mercantile in here by trading with pacified enemies. Oh, man. Oh. This character's going pretty good so far, I gotta say. I do kind of like the pacing a bit better with lower speed. Because, yeah, getting 100 speed right away... I mean, you can just run out the dungeon immediately, you know? I don't have to get the ebony dagger every time. Let's cook this. Equip it. I didn't kill any of those bats, so I can go back for them later. We're good on all my skills, I think. Ready. Rest for another hour. Another hour. Cool. So yeah, the first level, for some reason, is less... Or getting from level 1 to 2 doesn't consume as much... whatchamacallit? Or doesn't take as much things. I don't know how the fuck to say it. As long as dodging is 5 ahead of everything, I'm good. Because yeah, that's going to be my master skill. How did I get a Khajiit suit? Did I just, like, get that randomly? Because it's pretty lucky if I managed to do that. But I think that must be from the backstory or something. Okay, we're going to start off with classics. I would say that, like, overall dungeon dungeon traversal is going to be a lot more of a pain on a slower character. So you're going to have to be a bit more methodical. I don't know, yeah. I guess, yeah, this would be good for a main quest character, too. Got these covered, I'll do these now. Oh, shit. Meant to backstab him. Oh yeah, this. That's okay. We're gonna probably be using open to get locks open anyway. Where'd they all go? Oh, shit. Is Darker Dungeons working? Yeah, we don't have to get freaking backstabs for everything. It'd be nice, but yeah, these are already ahead. So I think when you're tied on skills, it just takes like one of them. It doesn't, yeah. I would assume so anyway. That could be like a weird glitch. Is it freaking raining out now? Dang it. Okay. That could be a thing, but I'm guessing like if two of your minor skills are tied, then it'll probably just take only one of them and count it towards your level. Same thing with major. Yeah, human enemies looks like they're the most sluggish. Did I get any backstabbing, sir? Yes. One of them was a backstabbing. Ooh. We got the Doctor Doom cloak. Yeah. It's gonna be lightning. It's not super dark out. But... Oh, hey, buddy. Let's trade, buddy. I don't think that they get to, like, keep your gold. I think, yeah, their gold just goes into whatever, you know? Suppose I could steal from him, but I won't do that. If I manage to pacify a human, I'm not going to kill him, I think. Where am I? You're in Privateer's Hold in the Daggerfall region. What is your name? Archie. My name is Archie. Take a look at my wares. The Archie has no good. Okay. Archie feels betrayed. Sorry, Archie. Archie! Yeah, don't waste your time or waste your fatigue jumping around if you're not a jumping character and you don't have athleticism. Because that'll drain like crazy into your fatigue. See that? Now I probably won't even make it. See, what I want to do is do like a cool like ARG thing. Or not ARG. What's it called? The AR? I think it's just AR, right? Alternate reality? Or augmented reality. Yeah, dang. Where it like blocks out my background and only counts my face. But it's like pixelated. So I look like I'm part of the Daggerfall HUD. That would be cool. Because I saw that effect in one video recently. I'm guessing that's something you can only really do with video editing, maybe? Got the Dr. Doom fit. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Oh my gosh. And now we're going to... Got everything. Rest. Nope. Rest for 1 hour. Your food is getting a bit ripe. Dang it. Well. You feel disgusted. I think, yeah, moldy meat is like a chance-based thing to whether or not you get disgusted by it. And yeah, your stomach rumbles means you're no longer... Oh, you know. I think 45 speed is kind of good. Maybe slightly higher. Yeah, and then I'll go for one more level of +9, and then switch it over. Yeah. And I'll do pretty much a similar thing on the playthrough. I'm liking this character. I'm still kind of approaching it methodically, where, yeah, I'm kind of sort of... Not min-maxing, I don't really like that term, but, you know, I'm using all the weapon skills and still trying to level up my jumping and climbing just because I want to level up all my skills still, you know, or not all of them. I'll focus on language. The only language skills that I selected were Streetwise and Etiquette because those are just the best language skills to pick. Because even like Necromancy or Daedric, you'll get less use out of them than Streetwise and Etiquette. Well, kind of. The metal monk values knowledge over everything. Well, I don't know. Yeah, the metal monk, I don't know. I'll have to, like, expand, maybe. I'll maybe have to expand more on the role-playing later. But, yeah, once I get out of Privateer's hold, I'll be pretty much, I'll probably head straight to Gothway Garden and join the Mages Guild. And then make some cool spells. Probably right away I'll make the jumping, climbing, running. Or, you know, some kind of levitate. And I'll definitely want to advance in either Archaeologists or Mages Guild, just to gain access to enchanting. So that I can, you know, boost my dodging and get all kinds of cool stuff on my outfits. Because, yeah, the Metal Monk still has great enchanting access. I probably will also eventually do a character that does not use magic at all. And so yeah, can't use armor or can't use magic, I think would be a cool concept for a character. It would essentially be like a barbarian, just a bit more quirked up. Okay. You can probably delete all these. The tough part, though, is I have to kind of zone in when it comes to being entertaining. You know, how can I be entertaining and interesting to watch while, you know, going through a dungeon? And I think that, you know, is kind of like, oh, do I want to do live streams? I think that would be a good idea if people are interested in watching it. Brrr. Okay. I think I put that in the description of the last video. So yeah, if you want to see, and if you would tune in to the live stream, just make a comment. You know, I don't want to sound super boring, but you know, that's just what it is. You know, if nobody watches the live stream live, then I'm not going to do it. It's just embarrassing to do a live stream where nobody's watching. Whereas at least a recording is, you know, something that's in progress and it's going to become, you know, it's a product being made. It sounds so weird, but that's just what, you know, there's a difference. Yeah, I suppose now I might do a video of me going through all my mods at this point. I have updated a little bit. The most important update is, yeah.
Never seen before.
Oh no! I was watching Half in the Bag. The most important update is Beautiful Cities and Beautiful Villages got an update. And now, yeah, I ended up getting rid of a few mods because they got integrated into Beautiful Cities. This is the full mod list. This doesn't go over my settings, which admittedly probably took longer to mess around with than actually finding and installing all these. No, not necessarily. It's kind of half and half. Actually, yeah, I can get rid of this unique armor. I got rid of this. Could maybe, like, move it down here. The likelihood of the mod author coming back to it is pretty low. So I might as well delete row. It's probably... It would be a good armor choice on a, like, male character that's kind of like the Mechanist. I think it was called the Mechanist build or whatever that Fudge Muppet did. You know, that kind of badass sort of, you know, sorcerer type build that's using heavy armor and magic and using Dwemer artifacts. Because, yeah, it does make the Dwarven armor look more like the future games. But it's not compatible with Paper Doll Enhanced. And I think Paper Doll Enhanced already kind of does that, but for females. So I still shelve these. I haven't really tested Tale of Argonia since, but this mod just gave me real bad performance issues. So I haven't really checked it out since. And I have a good computer, so I don't know. It's probably something with that mod, to be honest. Could try it out eventually, and it's unfortunate because yeah, it does make the game look really cool. Could maybe try it again, but don't really feel like it because yeah, the visuals are already fine enough. I do wish that I could have the Y shearing effect. That would be kind of neat, especially with kind of a sluggish sort of build, you know. But I might even like cap my speed or something and make it, 50 tops, because the game is just straight up easier at higher speed, you know. Granted, yeah, with the linear speed from Tome of Battle, it's not as powerful as it was, but I mean, still, you get the movement speed bonus. And I think your heavy... There is another mod like that, too. I think it's actually from Sphincter Vision. It's probably the weirdest fucking username. They've got something, right? Heavy metal. Material weight multipliers are changed to reflect how they scaled in the game manual and game guides. This makes iron and steel lighter than the higher level materials. Holy crap. So... Does this make you slower while you're in plate mail? Because I would like that. Yeah, it's wild how shafted the other types are. Because I think Elven is plate, right? Yes. Iron, steel, like leather and chain are the only actual leather and chain types. You know? Because otherwise the rest of this is all plate armor. I'm pretty sure. In the base game. Yeah, it appears that this just affects weights. I don't think that the Metal Monk... I don't imagine them using a shield, but it's not like it's banned, so you can do that. But yeah, I don't... It would be cool if they had a block skill or something, like they do in Morrowind, but... Yeah. I think, yeah, the shield widget actually has effects whenever you get hit. Whenever the shield gets hit, so that's kind of cool. The settings, my settings aren't really crazy complicated. The only, like, real settings that I'd probably need to go over is, like, Tome of Battle. I suppose I could just do that now, but not, like, 2 hours deep into recording. But, essentially, yeah, when it comes to making your own mod list, like, I didn't make this into a collection. I made this, so that you'd go to the mod pages and install them yourself, and then yeah, test them out yourself to see what you like. I would say the idea of like a plug and play mod list to me is, I mean, it's kind of interesting, like a mod pack. It's just better to install your mods yourself, unless you're doing a specific kind of game, you know, like maybe Terraria, a game that I've never really had experience modding. Maybe I'd try that, you know, if there's a Terraria mod pack out there. I think Terraria has like these big mods that like rehaul the game. You know, I forgot what it's called, but there's one that's like super popular and it like changes a lot of stuff. I think that's just one mod, as far as I know. But anyway, like yeah, for games like this, it's better just to build your own game or build your own mod list, right? Because it's the modders who actually do the work with the coding. So yeah, you can endorse and support them. But yeah, all I'm doing is just grabbing them off the internet and then dropping them right into the fucking game folder. Although yeah, sometimes the mods aren't like packaged correctly, whatever you call them. So the way that you're kind of supposed to do it is pack it so that it's the mods folder is in there, and then you can just extract it right from the streaming assets folder. So I've kind of neatly sorted that out. Ugh. Actually, yeah, the quests mods, some of them do not have DF mod files, so they don't show up in the mod list in the game's menu. And I think those should be marked in the quests section. So like, yeah, the artifact, Templar Order. I think the rest of them, though, are, like, I don't know if this is a DF mod. Oh, yeah, it is. It's from Cliffworms and all that. But some of them do have, like, quest packs, whatever. And those don't show up in the mod menu. There are a couple other random encounter mods, but I'm just using Warm Ashes, pretty much. Climates and Calories does add its own things, though. You can get the other ones. I just find that, yeah, Warm Ashes is enough. For me, anyway. Could probably have... there's another one called Sigil. Which I didn't get it because it was kind of old and, like, weird. So I didn't pick it up. And then there's Things Betwixt, which made the travel, like, extremely annoying to do. Oh, actually, no. Things Betwixt had this issue where I tried to fast travel by boat, and I just, like, died instantly. I didn't even, I mean, I didn't get attacked. I think I just ran out of fatigue somehow in transit, and it just killed me when I arrived. There was, like, a weird issue with that. Anyway. I can probably go over my mod settings later, but oh, fuck. Oh. The one that definitely matters the most is probably roleplay and realism, which I've actually disabled most of the features of that at this point, because a lot of other mods handle stuff similar. Yeah, I can think about that later. I just sort of tested the game mildly to make sure everything was working, and then tweaked the settings just on preference, which is what everyone should do. Anyway, the next video will probably be the first playthrough video. I'll get to that probably when I'm in, like, a more hyped out mood. But yeah, I think I got that character. Actually, no, I shouldn't delete it. I should, like, make sure that I get every option right. I should, yeah, screenshot that character or something. Or put it in the spreadsheet. Which I could do. I could maybe think about how to, like, restructure their stats, because I think, yeah, I think they have a bit too much magicka, at least at the beginning. So I probably don't need to invest that much into intelligence. I'm fine with having like 200 magicka by the end of the game, you know. But if it's 2 times, because then they would have then they would have if I got my intelligence boosted through for enchanting and stuff, then, well, that's not really natural. That's from the, I think it's level up adjuster. Wherever it is. Oh, man. Level scaled. I think, yeah, it must be random then. Because hard mode should mean that it's like always the full amount. But anyway. Level up adjuster. This, yeah, it makes it so attributes are 200 maximum. It's just a way of benefiting from attribute boosters when you've already gotten them to 100. To make it more in line with Morrowind. Which I think I've already explained, so... But anyway. I only get them up to 100 with leveling, but this allows you to actually invest more points into them. The linear speed from Toma Battle actually does go up to 200, so 200 speed will be twice as fast as 100. I'm going to have it 9 points at the beginning until I even all the attributes out, and then I'll probably bring it down to 5. That will probably make it so... Well, no, I think that'll be about the same amount of points as normal. Yeah, I'll have the sound go up to about 40. So the cutscene is loud enough. I'm gonna go into the save folder and delete all the other ones. Metal Monk. Make sure I get the character right. Dodging stealth hand to hand. Long blade archery alteration. I can probably remember those. Thaumaturgy. Critical strike. Backstabbing. Short blade. Streetwise. Etiquette. History. I think we got the same backstory as the spell sword. Vanish from human eyes yourself. Okay. So yeah, I might end up changing the advantages and disadvantages again, but I'm pretty well okay with that. Yeah. At 100 intelligence, they'll have 200 magicka, and then boosted intelligence will have 400 magicka, which is a lot. Yeah, I probably won't end up boosting my intelligence with magicka. Enchanting. But yeah, 2 times int is like good enough to get some really solid spells early on. I probably won't put like 75 points into intelligence right away. But where else do I put them then? Willpower is for... I have a few mods that affect willpower. The main one is the Battle of Wills that affects your ability to do saving throws, I think. And how fast you regain magicka. So I suppose, like, I could just invest in personality instead, but like there's the metal monk is supposed to be good at language, so that'll probably be it'll probably be it as far as justification goes, because they're not supposed to be like super charismatic like Paragon, beacon of everybody. They're skilled at pacifying people because they know languages well, but they only speak for that, you know. They don't have, like, they're not charming as far as like your commoner goes. So I can maybe have a low reputation with peasants, kind of like Geralt or something. Yeah, low reputation with peasants, high reputation with scholars, low reputation with underworld, high reputation with nobles, and like merchants will kind of be neutral because they don't give a fuck. You know, you can probably do that. Although, yeah, those early game reputation boosts don't really matter that much. And any skill trial. I suppose, yeah, it would make sense to have a little bit extra strength to carry around that armor. Agility isn't super important. Well, I think agility affects more stuff now. But still, the best attributes is by far speed. I mean, speed, like, that changes your whole character. I'll probably fiddle around a little bit more with the character, but not on video. I think I'm good with the advantages, because the character's locked in now. Hand-to-hand and missile weapon. I could probably set it up to where they're not using any other weapons besides like hand-to-hand and archery. Like, yeah, that would be cool if I could do a character that, like, leveled up at a decent speed and only used, like, 2 different weapon types. So that I wouldn't have to spend as much time cycling through weapons in my inventory. I suppose then I would probably put, like, I would probably swap long blade for critical strike. I could probably do that, yeah. That'd be pretty cool. And see what happens. Hopefully then I would get the same backstory, because I like the spell sword backstory. I mean, I think I'm just still going to, like, try and level up the other weapon skills. Anyways. Because it's just how I roll. Could maybe switch out then long blade or short blade with something else. You smell wood smoke. Cool. Okay. I'll check it. I'll check you later. Whatever the phrase is. Oh. Stay safe, citizen. Stay safe, citizen. Stay safe, citizen. These are dark times.